I love that. Every time I see that picture of his sons running up in his arms, oh, beautiful. Anyway, welcome everyone. I'm Courtney Nogus. I head up media relations for Travelers, and thank you for joining us, and welcome to TPC River Highlands, home of the 2024 Travelers Championship. We have a great day in store for you today at Media Day. In a few minutes, I'll be joined by Andy Bessette and Nathan Grube to discuss the Travelers Championship from the perspective of the title sponsor and the tournament staff. Then we'll have our reigning champion, Keegan Bradley, join us and discuss last year's win with our friend Chris Berman. Please get your questions ready because you'll have a chance to ask them to Andy, Nathan, and Keegan. We have microphones set up on both sides of the room. We're looking forward to the conversation today, and I know many of you are looking forward to getting out on the golf course. So let's get started. Would you please welcome Andy Bessette, the Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer at Travelers, and Tournament Director Nathan Grube. No, I was gonna introduce them as yin and yang, or they call each other son and father and a bunch of other names that I can't say. So,
but it's all good.
It's all good.
He could be my son.
Right.
I could be his father. But we're more like brothers.
That's fair.
Right?
All right, let's rein this back.
no.
We're already off the rails. I remember last year it went downhill quickly. I'm surprised that I'm back here again. So, and I think I was a last-minute fill-in, so I don't know if that bodes well for me.
Months.
So, yeah, okay. Anyway, well, here we go. 2024 Travelers Championship signature event. Andy, the tournament was designated event last year, and this year's signature event. What motivated Travelers to secure the status with the PGA Tour?
You know, Courtney, believe it or not, it starts back in 2005 and 2006 when I started negotiating the deal to put this tournament together. And how many of you remember that this tournament was dead, buried, gone, not a part of anything on the PGA Tour, right? It was dead. It was gone. I've heard some stories say, well, they were thinking about, no, it was dead. It was gone. And so we negotiated to when 84 Lumber went out of the PGA Tour title sponsor business, we jumped in and seized the week right after the PGA Champion, no, U.S. Open. And it's been history ever since. So we started back in 06, we saved the tournament, brought it back. But since then, Nathan and I have worked really hard with our teams, and we really do have world-class teams running this thing and building it. And since then, we've always wanted to be world-class. I mean, right from the first day. And I've said to Tim Fincham, who was the commissioner back then, we want to be world-class. We want to be one of the top events on the PGA Tour. And then when Jay Monahan took over, I actually took Jay. I'm not sure he was commissioner yet. I had him come up here and look at the old clubhouse, if you remember what that looked like. And I said, this is unacceptable. This isn't world class. This is like somebody's house. And he agreed. And before that, a year or two later, we started construction on this beautiful new clubhouse. And so that's the history of it. And so now to be a signature event with 78 of the top players in the world and no cut for 4 days, this is what we wanted to be. We're one of the top 4 events, I believe, on the PGA Tour, and we're going to keep growing. We're not stopping here. We're not done yet. We'll keep going.
I love it. Love the excitement. Nathan, with a signature event status comes a new look. What are some of the things that fans will notice this year at the tournament, and what are you most excited for?
Our team has heard me say this a lot. What I'm most excited for is I love seeing the pride on people's faces when they walk on property. And the fans and the corporate partners go, yes, we are proud to bring in guests here to entertain them. We are proud to say that this is what we can do with a professional sports franchise, basically. But I think to Andy's point, we always try to get better every year. Somebody asked us the other day, they said, I forget what the context of the question was, but they said, oh, did you guys think you were going to be a signature event one day? And we kind of joked, we're like, we have talked about being everything. We've talked about what it would mean to host a President's Cup here. We've talked about what it would mean to be a playoff event. Back when there was World Golf Championships, we said, how do we become a World Golf Championship event? So I feel like everything was always on the table, like how do we get there? And when this opportunity came up, and Travelers jumped at it. We want to be the best signature event of all of them that are out there, right? I mean, we've gone to all the other signature events so far. We've looked at what they've done, how they treat the players, the caddies, the media, the fans, and we've said, okay, we are going to raise the bar in every single one of those places. I mean, the media, you will notice a difference when you come on property this year. Caddies will notice a drastic difference. Players, they will notice a difference. Our fans, they will notice a difference walking on property, from the viewing experience to where we're building facilities to the work that was done to the property to kind of open up new sight lines. Every single one of our constituents, the volunteers, they're going to notice immediate differences right away too. So we take that word very, very seriously. Like, it's not just, oh, hey, your signature. We're like, no, we want to earn that, and we want to be the best one on tour. And so I think we're on a path over the next 48 days to get there, to deliver that.
Yeah, you mentioned some course improvements. There were some comments made about the golf course last year, after last year's tournament, and I know you guys worked closely with the PGA Tour since then on making adjustments to TPC River Highlands. Andy, can you, why don't you start? Any updates or details you want to provide?
I mean, you know, I think the comments that Rory made last year got blown out of proportion, really, because Nathan and I, for 17 years, have gone to every player, every caddy, every wife. I even go to the kids, and I say, hey, how can we make this better? More Cheerios! Okay, good, more Cheerios. And so we go to everybody every year and ask how we can make it a better experience and a better tournament. And that's how we got to where we are today, right, Nathan? And so we got, it wasn't just Rory last year's comments, we got comments from a dozen players about, hey, maybe this, maybe that, because we ask for it and we get it. And I think the beauty of this is that we have such a great partnership with the PGA Tour. And the PGA Tour is comprised of, I think, the best professionals in golf. And the rules officials work with us. Gary Young and his team, phenomenal people. The course designers and the course design team, they all descended on this place last year, but they've descended on this place almost every year that we've been doing this, right? And they come up with stuff, and Nathan can tell you about the things that they've improved in this course over the last decade. But so I just want to make sure it's clear that, you know, what we did this past year, actually I shouldn't say we, I should say the PGA Tour did. This is their club. But maybe tell them, Nathan, a little bit about what was done.
So actually, first of all, Gary Young is here. Gary, raise your hand, you're here somewhere. Oh, he's the chief referee with the PGA Tour. He's a New England guy. He's in charge of all competitions for the PGA Tour, and they do an evaluation of the property every year. How did it play? How did it compete? You know, what do the guys think? Things like that. And to Andy's point, there's been a narrative with this facility for the last dozen years. New bunker renovation project, new tee box up on 17, new practice facility, new clubhouse, new irrigation work. Like, there has been a step made every few years to improve the competitive nature of the facility. And so when last year, obviously Roy made his comments, it kind of put a spotlight on it, and Andy and I kind of took a step back and went, but this is what happens every year. Like, things get evaluated, things get looked at, and to the tour's credit, I mean, Andy was part of this project. They walked the golf course in the fall, a couple months after the event, and looked at everything like they always do. Hey, what about this? What about this? What if we did this? They looked at the shot data. They looked at how the course played. They looked at how the rough grew in that spring. Was it thick enough? Was it not? How dry were the greens? Do we need to make tweaks here? And so the competitive enhancements that were done to the golf course this year are part of that narrative of how do we make sure River Highlands is competitively, you know, where it needs to be. And I don't think the fans my guess is I'm not sure that they're going to notice it all, but I guarantee the players are going to set up going, that used to be 138 to get there, now it's 147. Okay, now I got to think through that. And now the tee box is here, it moved over 5 yards, now I'm going to hit a different shot into that. And honestly, that is what the players have said. When we went over the changes with the players, they're like, we like that. As competitors, we want to think our way around the golf course, and these are things that are making us think our way around the golf course. So before they stuck a shovel in the ground or did anything, they had sign off that these were the right moves, but we wouldn't have been able to get there without Gary and the team here at River Highlands and how accommodating they are. But this is a narrative that's been happening over 10, 15 years, that some of the tweaks that were made. So I'm excited to see what the guys think about it.
Yeah, will the media notice today?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Yeah,
definitely, because the
shall
quality
see.
of play here is just like the tour players, so
That's
they
right.
will notice. They will be
right.
standing on the 9th hole going, I used to be able to carry that 320,
Yep.
now am I really going to? Yeah, so
Lots
100%
of
they're
birdies
going to notice.
today, right?
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Thanks for setting me up for that
That's
one.
good
Yeah.
because you don't have to carry anything with a 200-yard drive.
Oh, boy.
That's what I play like.
So we've mentioned this in the past a number of times, which we're super excited about, is the Travelers Championship is the only PGA Tour event in New England. For those who are unfamiliar with the tournament and have never been, why should they put it on their calendar? Why should they make the drive from the other states to come here?
I think the player field. I mean, the player field, if nothing else, and the fact that they're going to get treated, everybody is treated very, very specially here. All the fans are, you know, and Nathan can expand on this too, but we have 4 or 5 venues that are no charge where fans can go up and feel just like they're in a club and have a very special experience. And or you can just walk around and sit in the beautiful grass with your family and have a little lunch and walk around some more. But, you know, the fact that this is New England's event, this is the Northeast event, it's a PGA Tour event, and we are bringing this year the best 70 to 80 players who qualify for this event. That's important because there are different rules around a signature event, but we're bringing the best 70 to 80 players in the world here to New England to be a part of this thing. And if you don't want to drive further or fly further, my gosh, you can come here and see everybody. And, you know, we have all kinds of events during the week, too. We have Women's Day on Thursday, but we have the Charles Sifford outing on Tuesday over at Wethersfield. And Charlie Sifford, if you don't know, right, was our champion in 1967. Nathan wasn't born yet. I was. No.
Really close. Really close.
Close. But, you know, but that Charles Sifford event is very special to us, and it means so much on tour. And, you know, Charlie Jr., his son, and I have really befriended each other over the last couple of years, and he's just a great guy. And his dad tried. It was hard for him as an African-American player back then. Are you kidding? It was tough. Think about it, in the 60s. And you know, you think about the world and everything, and for him to accomplish what he accomplished, I think was beyond world class. And that's why this will be our 3rd annual Charles Sifford outing. And we're really proud of that. We're excited about it. It's going to sell out like it usually does, and we'll contribute another $100,000 to the Charles Sifford Foundation, which helps kids who are going to historically black universities and colleges. I always forget the acronym, shame on me. But the kids that are going into golf programs at the schools that have golf programs, so important. I mean, so important. And we're so proud. I get excited just talking about it. So between the Charles Sifford event on Tuesday, the Celebrity Pro-Am on Wednesday, and was Matthew Bordonero. Where are you? Where are you? Just to be clear, Patrick Renner. This morning when I was talking to Meredith Gorman, I said Renner, but he didn't understand that. See, I'm a Boston guy, and in Boston we don't put R's where they belong, and we put them where they don't belong. Got that? Makes sense? Yeah. So I called him Patrick Renner. Right? Who else in Boston here? Anybody? Us Boston guys said, do that. We say Renner. So anyways, so I just had to make sure. Sorry, Matt, but I want to make sure it's clear. So Patrick Renner is going to be playing. He was Sandlot, right? The little boy, the chubby boy with the curly hair and all. And he's like 40-something now. And he looks the same.
Don't pick on 40-somethings. Careful.
Huh?
Don't pick on 40-somethings. We're still young.
No, man, I passed that a long time ago. Anyways.
But I think, Andy, to your point, I think the pros, I think what people can see, Courtney, to your question, we were down at the Players' Championship, and it hit me really, I think, that week in March when basically half the field of the players weren't eligible for our event. And we're walking around talking to guys, and for the first time, they're like, yeah, hey, I'm hoping I get in. I'm hoping I get in. I'm hoping I get in. And so just having a signature event and how the players look at signature events is, I think, something that just the status of how they perceive this golf course, the title sponsor, the event. It's you can see it on the players' faces. There is something that has been created that they are aspiring to get to, and you can see it on their face going, Peter Malnati was awesome. When he wins, he's like, I am so excited I'm now in Travelers. Like, I mean, that's like these guys think about these signature events now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Andy, you've made a point saying how meaningful the tournament's charitable efforts are because it aligns with Travelers, our approach to corporate giving. Why is that such a high priority every year for Travelers and the Travelers Championship and this community?
Well, Travels as a company, I've said this before, as a company, we give over $24 million a year to different nonprofits and charitable organizations. And it's really important. It's the ethos of who we are as a company. We care about people. And this tournament, over the first 17 years that we've been together, Nathan, right, we've raised over $30 million for over 900 charitable organizations. That's like real stuff, right? And all the net proceeds, there's no wealthy owner. I guess maybe the charities are the wealthy owners, but we have no wealthy owner walking away with hundreds of millions of dollars. We have the charities, and that's all net proceeds, net profits. The net proceeds go to charity, and that's what turns us on. It's who Travels is as a company, and it's who we are as the title sponsor of this event. And we're lucky to have Nathan and Tara and Kevin and their entire staff to put this on, because I can say all those words, but unless you have a world-class staff putting on a world-class event, it doesn't work. And so, Nathan, thank you. Tara, Kevin, the whole team, you guys are great, and we wouldn't trade you for anything or anybody.
Did everybody write that down? I just want to make sure. You said that publicly, so thank you.
Bonus time is over.
Yeah. Dang it.
Yeah, next year, we'll write it down. I think you guys sort of alluded to this next question a little bit in the beginning, but Travelers will match the tournament record with its 18th consecutive year serving as the title sponsor. What has it meant to Travelers, Andy, to be the title sponsor of this event? And has it exceeded the expectations, any expectations you had?
Me, yes. But I'm only one of 30,000 plus employees, right? And I think that many of you know Jay Fishman was very involved with this from the beginning until he passed in 2016. And Alan Schnitzer has been very, very involved and engaged in this since that time. And we couldn't have two better leaders over this 17 years, 18 years of this tournament to be where we are and who we are and what this means to us. I've already talked about, but this is the whole company gets into this. You should see our leadership and our women get into Women's Day. It's unbelievable. I mean, Matt and I just sit in the sidelines and say, "Whoa, okay, fine." We kind of steer the ship, but everybody's engaged. And when you go to Women's Day this year, you're going to see something really special. It's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be very entertaining. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, yet, but it's going to be really good. I'd really encourage you all to go to Women's Day on Thursday. But again, it really exudes who we are and what we do and what we're about.
Yeah. All right, you ready for my zingers?
Bring it.
Okay, I'm going to throw a couple zingers at you.
Zingers, oh boy.
Will a Travelers Championship be a signature event in 2025?
I hope so. Yes. I mean, our contract with the tour goes out to 2030 for this event. And when we put that together last year, when I was negotiating it, we wanted this to be a signature event through that time. But the thing to be careful is I don't know, and I don't mean, this is a good thing. Everything that's evolving in the world of golf as a sport, right, is changing. And so if there are signature events, we're going to be one for that period of time, and it's going to be very, very special. I just don't know how the golf world is going to change as all the things with PIF and LIV and everything else you read about. But you know what? The golf is a great game, and I was saying this morning to Meredith Gorman that what's really cool about golf is that you can go, if you're a Boston guy, David Ortiz, right? Man, nothing beat going to watch David Ortiz play baseball. If you're a Yankees fan, going to watch any number, they have a lot of superstars. It's like going to watch them. And it's like in the old days, watching Babe Ruth and all the, it's going to watch the very, very best players on a team. But what's so unique about golf, I think, is that there's nothing like PGA Tour golf in the world that I can think of. Maybe tennis, but where you bring all of the best players together on the same week, and you've got the best players in the world with you. Think about it. I mean, you can't do that in professional sports that have teams, so to speak, because they're all on teams. This is where they come out, all the best players in the world come out to play against each other and compete against each other to prove who's the best. And I think that's part of the cool part and the interesting part of being a signature event.
Yeah,
All right,
and you
Nathan?
talked a little bit about the player field and having the best players come out to the event. What about the exemptions and the college amateur standouts? And we've been known to have them in the past. Can you talk about the element of the tournament and what's changed there?
Yeah. So it changed a little bit. So our field size is going to be between 70 and 80, and we used to have 8 exemptions, and now we have 4 exemptions. And to your point, Courtney, in the past, it's been we've always kind of earmarked a couple for some of the young guys, right? Who is going to be the next generation of the PGA Tour? And this is where Andy and I haven't talked about this, so he might hit me and be like, "What are you talking about?" But I mean, part of it you have to look at, like, the reason we did that, right, was to build relationships with the next generation of players. You know, who are the next top guys going to be? We want to make sure we have these relationships. And honestly, if you look at the top 10 in the world, I think we're at like at least half of those guys were exemptions at one point with our event. And now they're actually coming here. So the relationships that we made are there. Now, we still, though, going from 8 to 4, we still made a commitment to, I would say, investing in that next generation. And the PGA Tour has a program called PGA Tour University, where they rank all the top college players and how they play and things like that. It's a rolling ranking. And we made a commitment to say whoever wins PGA Tour U, we are giving them an exemption into the Travelers Championship. So we kind of are still holding on to our roots. Obviously, the exemption program is different. The field size is very different. But we thought that was very, very important. We didn't have to do that, but we thought it was very important to keep a tie to the young guys. So we're talking to those young guys who are like 1, 2, and 3 right now in PGA Tour U going, man, come on, grind it out. You got this. You know, there's a spot waiting for you if, you know, at our event if you win. So still keeping those relationships there, that was important to us. So that's hopefully that will still keep the tie. Yep.
Agreed completely.
So one last question from me, and then I'll open it up to the audience. So if anybody wants to start to make their way to either of the microphones, please feel free to do that. But what else do you want to tell us that I didn't ask? Andy, you usually like to leak something, or you've been on your best behavior today.
Yes, he
I'm very
does.
proud.
Really?
Yes.
No, I never
Yes.
do that. I really don't. I think you've asked a lot of the right questions, Courtney. I think that the most important thing to me and to travelers is the pride that comes along with this event. When I see the word signature over there, I don't see that. I see the word pride. And I know how proud the people in Connecticut were back in 2006, 7, when we first saved the tournament and all. But it's still happening today. And so the pride, and you go out and watch, you stand at the front gate coming in with families, and the excitement in the little kids' faces to come in, and the families, I think, is just second to none. It's just so cool to watch. Everybody's so excited about, whoa, where are we going? It's kind of like a carnival in some ways. But I think that's really, I would just really emphasize that and say that we're a New England event, we're a Northeast event, actually, and as much as I hope everybody in the Northeast embraces this and really understands what it is that's going to be here from the 17th to the 23rd of June. It's going to be so unique and so different, and so different. Did we say so? So we're giving caddies cars. So, you know, the PGA Tour players get cars every time they go to a PGA Tour event. It's not just us, every one of them. Did I say something I shouldn't say?
No,
it's
continue.
okay.
I'm right behind you.
He's going to kick me in a minute.
No, I already did.
So this year, one of the special things we decided to do, Nathan said, hey, Andy, we're going to have 156 cars, because we usually have 156 players, but we only have 70 to 80 players. Oh, so we decided that the caddies deserve some recognition and some help, and we're giving them cars too. That's pretty cool, right?
PGA Tour caddy right there? Is that what that was? Okay.
But I think that's the kind of thing. And then for the wives, we're going to convert the ladies' locker room in the lounge into a massage studio, or a treatment studio, I should say. And so the wives can go in during the day when they're out here with their husbands and watching them if they get tired and they want to go sit down or whatever. And so I said to Nathan the other day, we should give every wife a locker too. How cool would that be? So they have a locker. Now the wives are going to feel like so engrossed. And I tested it on Austin Eckroat's wife, Sally. She's like, whoa, that'd be so cool. So I've been testing this to just make sure we're going to get the right reaction to it. They're going to love it. Oh my gosh, it's going to be great.
It's also like a little wellness type area.
It is a
Yeah,
feel-good thing.
That's
And
great.
kids we take care of anyway. We give kids tons of Cheerios and cookies and candies. And my last story is last year, I wanted to make sure the kids had a great experience. And so I said to the chef, who is world-class here, I don't know if he's here, world-class
Sean's
chef.
here somewhere, I think, yeah.
And I said, hey, we should bring out mac and cheese, chicken fingers, right? And what good food, and tater tots. What better, that's like good food, that's food, that's like, I want that food. You know who the first 60 people in line were for that kids' food? The players. So they have a very healthy menu that they do eat most days, but when we brought out the food, the chef was so good. And to have tater tots, mac and cheese, and chicken fingers, are you kidding me? And the first people in the 60 of them, they said, don't you want to let your kids in? No.
Next year's Media Day menu.
Yeah,
Chicken
same
fingers,
thing.
tater tot, yeah.
Sorry, that's my comment. Nathan?
Man, I think there is a general theme and feeling among everybody here that we don't take this for granted. From the staff to the volunteers to David, the GM here at the club, like I feel like everybody feels like we have to earn this every single year, and there is no bit of, I mean, to Andy's point, in our very, very recent past, we didn't have this. And I think there is a healthy amount of we better do this better than anybody else, because we kind of know like we have to earn this. And so I think when we treat it like that we have to earn it, I think the players feel that way. We don't take them for granted. The whole entourage, the whole team, it's personal for us. And I think I just saw him walk in, and Chris is going to interview him here in a second. We could not have a better champ than Keegan, and how he won, how he wore it on his sleeve, how he won, how he talked about it. I mean, we could not have a better ambassador for us as an event, for us as a region, than having him as a champion. And it's been a phenomenal ride, and I hope he wins this the next 7 years in a row. I mean, he's an amazing human, amazing dad, and we're fortunate to have him as our champion. So that's what I have to say about that. Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better. That's awesome. Is everybody being shy, or are they full? There we go.
Hi guys, Pat Eaton Rob with the Associated Press. I understand everything you said about, tweaks being made every year, but can you describe what some of the biggest physical changes to the golf course was? And then I understand that weather has a lot to do with this, but is there a score that you guys are looking at and saying, if we hit this score, everything worked the way we wanted it to?
Good question. Gary, you can come up for the microphone, please. Gary Young. No. So I would say this, Pat. It's very interesting. I'm not a rules official, nor do I play one on TV, but they have helped educate me on this, to where like how the spring affects a score. Right? If the rough isn't coming in thick, they start to look at that. If the greens aren't drying out, they start to look at that. And I bet you they could probably say advance week, oh, here's probably a score that we're going to hit because of X, Y, and Z factors. So, I mean, there's years where I think 12, 13 under wins this event, and the U.S. Open shot lower than here, because of our course will play super hard. There's other years where it's soft or whatever. Like, I think there's so many things that go into it. But a couple of the things that Gary and the team kind of pointed out, I mean, I think you'll notice today, number 6, they narrowed that up a little bit. Number 9, they moved that tee box to the right a little bit so that the guys wouldn't have the lure to drive over those homes. They shrunk the green a little bit on number 9.
Those, just to be clear, those aren't things that normal human beings would care about or
Fair.
even be close to seeing.
Yeah.
Right? Keegan does, and all his buddies. But I went out and looked at them. I don't hit my ball anywhere near where those things go. Anyway, so
11 green, they shrunk that a little bit for a different type of approach shot. So they put rough on. Is it 12, 13, 12?
12 down
on
the
the downslope to kind of make the guys think about where to hit it. So again, I think what I learned, and I don't want to speak for Andy, but I think what we both learned listening to PGA Tour, the rules team and the competitions, they just want the guys to think their way, and the guys like to think. They like to not just like stand up there and just whatever, I'm just going to blow it wherever, somewhere over there. They want to hit it to certain places. They want to think about their next shot. They want to think about what putt they want to hit to certain pin placements. And so to see the tweaks that they did to make the guys think more was fascinating. But you'll see those. You're not going to go over the houses anymore, Pat. So you'll yeah.
But I think I would just say, to answer your question, Pat, no. I don't anticipate any changes in scores because we've had 15 under win, we've had 22, 23 win. And you look at on the PGA Tour this year, look at how many, there have been quite a few greater than 20 unders winning. And so, you don't know, there's other factors, and Gary would be the expert, or he is the expert, but there are so many factors that come into play to determine the final score. I don't know, but I'm not looking for any changes in scores. I think what the tour did and all the experts that they have was to make it just a little more competitive.
Okay. Well, thank you to you both.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thanks, Courtney.
Now I'd like to bring up Chris Berman for our champions interview. You all know Chris as the longtime voice of ESPN. We know him as the close longtime friend of the Travelers Championship. As Chris makes his way up, we're going to start by playing a short highlight video from last year's Travelers Championship.
Our champion, Keegan Bradley.
Thank you.
Nice to see you, Paul.
Yes.
That's all we had? I thought we were going to have every shot, stuff. How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing
welcome
great.
home.
I was saying earlier, did a few interviews, just coming home to New England, just even for a little bit, is so fun. Just going to the airport and seeing the local sports, and it's just so special. I just love it up here.
So, the trophy you have and the trophy the kids have that we got on the 18th green, are they all still in good shape at your house, or
They
what?
definitely have seen some better days, but they're. I can't tell you. In my house, I have no golf stuff displayed. I have an office, and I
Okay.
put my trophies up there. But the Travelers Trophy with the kids' trophies, we have right in our living room. And just the other night, 2 nights ago, I caught my wife. She was staring at the trophy, and I looked at her, and she just said, I just can't believe that happened. And like it was so surreal for us that like even now, it seems like a dream. And it's just such a special thing for me to come back here as the champion, and remarkable.
I mean, golf is always Keegan, the next round, the next event, etc. But to your point, you thought about this as a 9, 10-year-old coming down from Vermont. So it does recur in your mind, right? Like, do you ever like have a glow?
Yeah,
When you think of what happened here, what we just saw.
everybody that comes over my house, they want to see the Travelers Trophy. They don't want to see
Very
the
cool.
PGA Championship. They always say it.
Attaboy.
And I bring them over and I show them the names. And I was looking out at the range right here, the old range, and back my first tournament I ever came to, I waited right outside over there for David Duval to come out, and I watched him warm up, and I watched all 18 holes, and it was such a far dream. I mean, I knew this is what I wanted to do, and I had no other dreams in my life than to play on the PGA Tour. But being out here, it seemed really just a fantasy and then fast forward, I don't know how many years, 20, 30 years later, I'm going to be the winner here. I mean, it's literally what dreams are made of. It's really special.
Yet last year, and I know it's 11 months ago, but you said Saturday, okay, last group, I have it in my hands, just play your game. Yet you said you didn't sleep well.
I was very nervous. I slept okay, but when you're in the final group of a tournament, at anything, but especially a big tournament, signature event, but then especially this tournament for me.
Right. Your signature.
Right. You wake up, as soon as you open your eyes, it's like you have electricity going through you. It's a different, it's just, something's just different. And I remember waking up and being a little bit scared of how nervous I was, and it was different. And then, this is why I always call my family my secret weapon, is my 2 boys have no clue about, they know I'm going to come out and you do this, but they don't really care. They want to do their normal boy stuff. And I was renting a house with a basketball hoop, and my son had me out, and I was shooting hoops with him, playing our pig, and people are driving by, honking their horns, sticking their heads out, waving to me. And I remember thinking about how calming it was this is like a normal morning in my life, and what I'm about to go do is the opposite of normal, and it helped a lot.
And also, I mean, some of you remember these stories, but yet it's now, we've had winter, although it was pretty mellow. but not only the basketball hoop, but the Father's Day, the Sunday before this signature event. You got an amazing tea time with your boys, right? And maybe we should all use this to improve our game is where I'm going,
Yeah,
right?
so I played the U.S. Open, and I missed the cut, and sometimes you miss the cut and you play well, and it's disappointing, and then sometimes you miss the cut and you've played awful. And when you do that at a major, it can really shake you. It can be a bummer. You feel like, okay, I got to really start over here. I played really, really terribly. And I came home, and that weekend I went and played mini golf with my two boys, and it was so great. We were in Seabrook, Mass, playing this tiny little place, and I had just come from the U.S. Open, and now I'm here with my boys playing mini golf, and it was really great. It was really great, and it sort of reset me. In a lot of ways, missing the cut at the U.S. Open helped me play well here.
The windmill can be a tough hole.
It can be, yeah.
The clown's mouth. I mean, it's no cakewalk. So to come here, and we know what it means to you, being a New Englander. But as it was alluded to before, there's no major this year. Boston, New York, Philly, not even upstate New York. So it's not only our hometown and New England event, but this is, you draw a circle of 500 miles, and oh, by the way, it's signature event. Does it get heavier to carry that crown a little bit, or does your chest go out more, knowing that around here, this is it all year?
It got heavier on the weekend, for sure. It's interesting about my life is I went to school at St. John's in New York, New York City. So I actually get such extreme support in New York as well. So when I'm in New York, I'm from St. John's. When I'm in New England and Boston, I don't, yeah.
Smack,
but
very smack.
Hartford's normally the cutoff. Anything south of Hartford's New York fans and
Right.
north. So, when I come here, I feel a lot of pressure. I really do. I think of the New England kid out here watching and looking at me and thinking, this kid knows what I'm going through. I couldn't play golf in the winters. Where I grew up, this was the South down here. This was like you could play here in the winter, not where I was. And I felt like that Sunday and that weekend, I wanted to do that for the New England kids to watch and think like they can do this. And I remember watching Brad Faxon and Billy Andrade and those guys play and thinking like, okay, they did this, and that means I can too.
Have you met any like younger ones? I mean, your kids' friends, et cetera, that might even say, "Hey, I'm in high school, or I'm in ninth, I'm in 8th grade, but you showed me I could do this." Have you run into any?
Yeah, so I have a place in just 30 miles north of Boston, and we go there in the summer. And after I had won here, I noticed a big difference in just how the local kids said, "I went and played golf for the first time because I saw you win." And I can't tell you how much that means to me. This area is everything to me. It's something happened when I had kids. I was drawn back here. I live in Florida, but as soon as I had kids, I kept getting pulled back. I wanted to come back, and I just love it up here.
What broader base? Tell the folks what the players have always thought about, the players on tour, about coming here, even now that we're limited field, but before. What was special about them coming here that you heard, through the years?
I think that the Travelers, well, I know the Travelers is a model of how to run a tournament and take a tournament that wasn't a premier event necessarily on the tour and turn it into what it is today. And what they did was they made all the right decisions. And you talk about how the caddies are going to have cars this year. And that doesn't affect the viewers watching. That's not going to help their viewers. That's not going to help their bottom line of the tournament. In fact, it probably hurt it. But that's just a small decision that they make that affects the outcome of how we feel when we come here. They're on Thursday night or Friday night. Right over here, they have a wiffle ball game for the players' kids, and they set up a fake green monster. And my kids talk about it all year long. So, you know, if there was ever a time where, let's say I'm not from New England and I'm not going to come here no matter what, but if I said to my kids, hey, we're not going to Hartford this year, they'd be pissed because they don't get to play that game. And that's these are just like small examples that the public wouldn't even know. And I was always so proud to convince players to come play here back in the day. I remember I convinced Luke Donald to come, you got to come play Travelers, it's so fun. And after the week is done, they go, it's one of the best weeks I've ever had in a tournament. And I always felt this sense of pride to show off this tournament. And now to see what it's become, easily, you know, outside the majors, you know, one of the biggest events in the entire world.
Well, as do we, a sense of pride. A couple of broader golf questions, and then we open up, and I got a couple more. So, signature events, and in case we forget, there it is in lights, Andy, good job. Signature, it's 3 syllables. Played well at Pebble, although, you know, 3 days, but he played well at Masters. How are they working, especially the limited fields? Only a couple of years, I mean, a little different. How do you players feel it's working, the signature situation?
I think it's great. I think it's really nice to know. As a player, I know I have to really play well that week. I know that if I want to win the tournament, I'm going to have to beat Scotty Scheffler on Sunday. He's going to be there. That's just an example. I think it's really nice for the fans to know that all these guys are going to be playing. I think it's cool that they know how here at Hartford they're going to have a world-class field. I think that that's amazing. I think that the tour has had to make decisions on the fly without really figuring anything out over the last couple of years, and I think they're still doing that. And I think that it's been great. I still don't know if we know exactly which way the tour is heading or how we're going to do this, but you know they have to choose tournaments like Travelers and make them a premier event, which they already are, and they can show off what a great product the PGA Tour has.
I mean, you don't stand over the ball thinking about, okay, where's golf headed this year? But
Yeah.
a lot of us think of other things that we should be thinking, like look at the ball, but that's a whole nother story. What's the talk of the players? It looks like all year, we don't know. We don't know probably. There's not going to be a resolution. We're already almost May, right, Keegan?
Right.
So uncertainty, look, the great events, the great players. What's the chatter on tour of, is this going to go on for another year or two? Do we really know where the big ship is headed, even though ships like the Travelers and the majors, et cetera, exist?
So I'm going to preface this by saying I know nothing.
Okay, Sergeant Schultz.
Yes, I hear a new rumor every
For
day.
those of you who remember.
But I think the feeling amongst the players is that inevitably we're going to come together. I have no clue if that's when that is. I think it'd be really fun to have a tournament like the Travelers where you're coming down the stretch against the PGA Tour versus a live guy. I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be fun for the media. I think that'd be fun for the public. I think it'd be fun to watch. I don't see a world where having those guys play on the tour is bad for golf or the PGA
Right.
Tour. I think that, you know, a lot of the guys that left were big characters, good and bad, and great players. And I think eventually you'd see them come back, but they're still not going to, the live guys are going to have to play on live. It won't just be an event here or there. I don't think any of them are going to jump over and play full time. So it's still a lot to figure out. I have so much trust in Jay Monahan and the PGA Tour. I'm thrilled about Fenway Sports Group coming on with the PGA Tour, and I just think that they're so smart, and I feel lucky that I've come along this exact time in the tour because we're making way more money, which is amazing, and I think this is so fun to come and see the tour growing and seeing, you know, changes to the tour, and I think it's a great thing to see.
You know, it's interesting you just mentioned that, Keegan. You know, your PGA was what, 2011?
Mhm.
And, you know, here we are in last year winning here 2023, so that's a dozen. Are you a much better player now than when you won, notice how I'm saying this, your first major?
Yes. I honestly do. I feel,
Because?
I wish if I think this is common for a lot of players, but I feel so much more comfortable in contention now. My wins as a younger player were always from behind and chasing, and I felt the best in there. But winning here, my last 2 wins I've won from being in front, which is a much different animal. It's different from the moment you wake up, like I said. It's different from being on the first hole with a lead to the last hole. And so I feel like I can manage those situations a lot better. And I think it's for me, I think it's more impressive when a player goes out and has the lead and wins the tournament. I mean, I think it shows a lot.
Very much so. Easier to be the chaser than the chasee.
It is, for sure.
If that's a word.
Yes.
Right? If that's a word. We got a couple more, but why don't we have microphones. We have maybe questions. Maybe we don't have questions, but, back to the mic.
Hi, Keegan, Pat Eaton-Rob from the Associated Press. Wanted to get your thoughts on the PGA Equity Program. Are you part of it? Do you think it's going to help in terms of retaining players? Did they put you on the right tier?
Yeah, I think it's unprecedented in sports. I think if I played another sport, if I played in the NBA or the NFL and I saw the players gaining equity into the league, I think I'd have some questions. I'd want that to be with me as well. I feel very happy with the way I was treated by the tour. It's just something I never expected. I mean, imagine you worked your whole life and were compensated great, and then randomly they said, we're going to give you a piece of the company. I think it's really special. I hope it stops players from going, but you never know. The LIV has tons of money, so they can always come over the top. But I feel very grateful for what the tour has given me.
Bill Doyle from the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. Keegan, as the defending champion and you set a tournament record, are you familiar with the tweaks they made to the course, and how do you feel about them?
Yeah, I was just told about them briefly when I got here. They don't sound like anything very major. I think courses are always trying to improve slightly, and I just love the flow of this course. I don't think they need to do a lot. I love the back nine here. I love what can happen, and I think that's what makes this tournament unique.
Do you think they made the changes? You've heard of tiger-proofing courses. Do you think it's a Keegan-proofing of this course?
Well, if they did, we'll see. I would be very honored if they did that, but I don't think that's the case.
Thanks.
That's a good one, Keegan Proof.
Hi, Keegan. Mike Hurley from WBC in Boston. I was distracted this whole time because I'm just wondering, when you mini golf, do you use like the blue putter with the dinky little head, or do you bring your own?
No, I don't bring. I think that'd be a little strange if I brought my own. But,
I just had to ask.
yeah, no, I use the regular putter, and when I'm out there, I get some looks like, geez, you look like a golfer, but surely that can't be you here. But my kids, I just went a couple days ago at Jupiter. My kids love to go, and it's really fun.
Robert Garrigus, remember what you didn't like about a 3-foot putter? Like, the opposite of the big guy.
That's right.
Hey, Boom, Bob Gelb, WFAN. Condolences to the ESPN family on the loss of the Schwab. It was great to.
Yeah, thank you.
St. John's graduate.
Yeah.
That's a tough.
And speaking of St. John's, Keegan, it's about 22 miles from Utopia Parkway to Bethpage Black. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I want to play on these teams as much or more than anybody. What happened last year took so much out of me and my family, and it was crushing. I really, really was on my mind every second of every day, and I can't do that again. So I want to be on these teams. I want to do whatever I can to be on these teams, but if I start thinking about Bethpage right now, because to me, I mean, winning at Hartford, playing the U.S. Open, playing pretty well at Brookline, that's a highlight. Playing the Ryder Cup at Bethpage would be one of the coolest things I could ever do in my life. Just alongside winning majors. I mean, I used to play there on Mondays when I was at St. John's, one of my favorite courses. I felt like when I played at Bethpage, I got some of the biggest support of anywhere in the world I've ever played, including in New England. So I would love to play there and be a part of that team, and that'll be a huge goal of mine. But I got to try my best not to go through what I went through again.
You think it might be loud for the Ryder Cup at Bethpage?
Boy, oh
Just
boy.
a question.
I'm pretty close with Luke Donald, and I was saying to him, you better be ready. This is going to be a little different.
Yeah, we'll refer to Monty
Yeah.
on that one. Any other? Nobody? Not even Brewster? So, once upon a time, you wanted to be a skier. Well, maybe you were you were a skier. Maybe you still, do you still ski?
I don't know.
Because,
I don't want to get hurt. Yeah.
Your kids ski? Do they?
They haven't been,
Florida,
which is
so.
like horrible, but I haven't skied in so long, but recently I've been wanting to go back again.
Really?
I really want my kids to do that. It's such a strange thing to have something be such a huge part of your life and then be done. But soon I'd like to do that again.
Well, the only I mean, it's far-fetched, Keegan, but I mean, imagine, in the giant slalom compared to you coming down 18. Like, that was a dream of you once, like, to be a really good skier, right? You grew up in Vermont.
Yeah, I think my skiing career has been blown out of proportion
Okay,
a little
well,
bit. But
from Vermont, we'll go that far, right?
I was pretty good. But I equate ski racing and golf. They're very similar. When you're in that starting gate for skiing, you're there by yourself. There's no one else. There's no teammate. There's no one to pass the ball.
Right.
And when I was on this first tee on Sunday at 2 o'clock or whatever, I'm looking down that fairway with all these people cheering for it. I'm like, oh shit, this is really serious. The same sort of feeling. There's a feeling of helplessness where, if you're playing for the Celtics and you're Jason Tatum or whoever, you have an off night, you got Jaylen Brown right there. So when you're out there, here you have your caddy, which is a huge advantage, but in skiing especially, you're all alone in that gate, and it's very similar. It's a very similar sport. You have to do it all yourself, and it's very mental and difficult.
Not that, look, you won the PGA, so the names on that, and we've done this before, but it's always fun because the names on this they're pretty good. When you looked at them, and you know who a lot of the winners are, were there a couple previous winners of the Travelers / Insurance City Open /
GHO.
Cannon / GHO, Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah,
I mean, it could
Billy
be Sam
Casper.
Snead. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Arnold
You're on
Palmer.
it.
Yeah, I'm on it. I've said this over and over and over, but to win here is so incredibly special for me, and it's still. I'll be driving down the road, or when I'm home, and I'll think about it. And like I said, it still feels fake. I mean, so many times on the tour you can win, and like my first PGA Tour win, I won in Dallas, and I was there totally by myself, and it was amazing. And I went to bed and got up and went to the next tournament. Here, I have basically every family member that I know is here. These guys know they got to give me like 500 tickets a day. And we have these traditions now of just from Hartford. My mom cooks on Tuesday night. She cooks her special meal, and then the next night another family member. It's like so this has become sort of a family reunion for us. And then there's a tournament on the side. Everyone's having a great time. Meanwhile, I'm nervous, like freaking out. But this is it's a really, really special place for me. And it would have still been if I hadn't won. But now, I'm upstairs doing a few interviews, and the last time I was in that room, I had just won, and my whole family was in there, and we were hanging out. So like I have these memories, just even in this clubhouse, that I have memories of my nephew, who's now 13, as a little tiny baby here, and they used to let us back in the old clubhouse. They used to put cones out for my sister to be able to park so Aiden, my nephew, could be there. So I have these memories of, decade of playing, and then now to cap it off here, I have this trophy.
Cool.
That's special.
How's your year going? Hawaii started really well. Sony, yeah.
It did. It was. I felt I should have won that. I've never it's the one time in my career where I really felt I should have won, and I had finished. A lot of times you finish second, and you hear the guys in the interview, and they're bummed out. But really, when they leave, they're pumped. This was a great week. When I left Sony, I was bummed. I felt I should have won, and that was the first time that's happened to me. And the golf in your career, it's ebbs and it goes up and down, and it's a tough. Sometimes it can be tough. I feel like I'm playing good, but I'm excited. Always play better. We grew up playing in the summer, so I always feel like my game is best in the summertime. So I'm excited. It's some big events coming.
Well, I mean, that's our body clock, right?
What do you think of Drake May?
That's our, huh?
What do you think of Drake May?
No. I think that 6 quarterbacks in the first round, whether they were 1 through 12 or all the way to the end, 3 are going to, the history tells us, 2 or 3 are going to be really good. 1 or 2 are going to be okay.
Yeah, we know that.
1 or 2 are going to be below okay. I'll leave the initials out. And so, but it doesn't mean that one, he has potential to be one of those really good ones. He's going to need a receiver or 2.
This wasn't a glowing endorsement.
He's going to need a receiver or 2.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, we've been saying that for 20 years.
Yeah, well, the last great receiver they drafted was a quarterback from Kent State. That was Julian Edelman. But we digress. Your other teams are your winter teams are doing pretty well. Your hockey team.
Yeah, I mean the Bruins play tomorrow night, and I was flying up here going, "Geez, if I just stay one more night, I could get a game in." Yeah, I'm on the road by myself now. My kids are at school, and Boston sports sort of keep me sane. I listen to.
Are they fired up on the Boston teams too, even from?
Oh
where
yeah.
I just want to make sure.
They better be.
Well, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, my son yesterday, I told him to go get dressed. We were going to do something yesterday. He came down in a full Jason Tatum jersey with Celtic socks up to here and Jason Tatum shoes. So
Bruins tomorrow.
Bruins tomorrow. So the sports mean a lot. I always tell this to athletes all the time that sports are important. Sports mean a lot to people, and like what sports do for me is when I'm missing my family and I'm watching the Celtics, it brings me. I'm talking to my wife. I told Bill Belichick this too. These sports are important. What the sports have done. My first Super Bowl I watched with my dad. I went to 2 Super Bowls with my wife, and my last Super Bowl I held my son. So like there's sports are important. Travelers is important. This does a lot for the community. They give back, and I live for these Boston teams.
Well, a lot of folks, I think, whether they're dads, moms, daughters, sons, you brought that to people last year. I do want to give this an aside here. We don't get defending champions very often showing up here, okay? Not because they don't like the cooking, but we just don't, because that doesn't happen as much anymore. But Keegan made sure that he came back to visit with everybody today, so I thought we should point that out. You can applaud if you want. Right? This is an interesting tradition, and I can't wait to see where this is going to go with Andy and Nathan. But Felix the cat, that's a bag of tricks I'm looking at so far. You want me to get out of here so you can, okay.
Hello? Oh, there you go. So before we do this, Keegan, Chris, I have to say this to you because you've accomplished so much in your life, in your profession, in your career. But you know what? From day one in 2007, you've been our uncompromised partner for this tournament.
Thank you.
And I've offered you all kinds of stuff to make you feel good. No, maybe I don't know why I offered it to you, but I offered you all kinds of stuff, and you said no. I just like to keep it low keyed, and I'll keep being supportive. But I just want to say thank you to you because you're not only the Swami, but you're the Swami of the Travelers Championship.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you for all you do, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you
Happy
very
to
much.
do it.
So Keegan's looking at me like, what's he going to do now?
What's in that thing?
So you have to watch the video, because we had this video made for you from some of your buddies, and they're like the guys, they're my favorite band in the world. So if we play the video first.
What's up, Keegan? It's your friends in the Dropkick Murphys. We just once again want to say congrats on your 2023 Travelers victory. As fellow New Englanders, you're making us proud. Keep up the good work. Hip, hip.
Isn't that great or what?
That's amazing. You got to send me that.
So every year we do something with our defending champion. And we've given away ping pong mallets, Nathan. We've given away cricket bats.
Fishing.
We've given away fishing gear, right? Really good. That's really good stuff, too, I got. Boy, that's really good. Anyways, so this year, Keegan, we got you a special gift.
Wow.
And Boston Common Golf was huge and a big part of helping us get this thing. And Fenway Sports Group and all the guys, John Henry and Sam, and you know all the guys. They were a huge part of this. But we thought this, you're such a big Boston sports fan, we thought this was just something you could really appreciate.
Wow, this is something.
And it would go right into your office in your study at your house. Now, your wife might kill me, but that's okay. But
She's
but
into it just as much as I am.
wait,
so.
this is something very special for you.
Holy shit. Are you kidding me?
It's from Fenway Park,
Oh, my God.
and it says on it, Travelers Championship, Keegan Bradley, 2023 champion. And it's actually, that came out of Fenway Park. And
Are you kidding me? This
So
is
you
the
could put
coolest thing
Seating
I've ever gotten
capacity
in my
minus
life.
one? Is that it now?
Holy
you can
cow.
probably sit on it, but I don't know what it's on.
That's not.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on.
There we go.
That is,
Look, isn't that great?
that is unbelievable. I can't thank you guys enough for this. This is like the greatest gift I've ever gotten in my life.
I don't know if your
Holy
wife's going
cow.
to actually like it in your
She's going
office, but
to
that's okay.
love this.
Is she? Good.
Yes, this is
Good.
going to go straight when we walk in the house. It's going to be right there. Wow. Once again, amazing. That is so special. I can't believe, this was in Fenway?
Yeah, that was in Fenway.
Wow.
When they renovated it, they pulled chairs out, and I called Sam Kennedy. I said, "Hey, Sam, I need your help with something. Do you have any old, like Fenway Park chairs left?" He goes, "Oh yeah." And so
Aren't
the
we
guys
lucky?
at Boston Common Golf helped us, and they put it together, and that's it.
After I had won, I posted some videos, and someone commented on one of my videos and said, "Thank God I'm from New England." And it always stuck with me, and this is just another example. How cool is this? Thank you so much.
And something for the boys, because I'm going to ask you to tell the story, because I think it's one of the greatest stories I've ever heard, and it exemplifies who you are.
Oh my
These are for the boys. So
That's Coop.
for Logan, right? Logan.
Yeah,
this
it
has
is
his name on
Logan.
it.
Oh my God, that
And
is
so,
so
tell
cool.
the boys we missed having him here. We knew he had to go and had to be in school.
I will.
But tell the story. So Nathan,
Yeah.
Keegan and I were talking last year. I can't remember where we saw each other, and you said,
Somewhere.
"Andy, this is an embarrassing moment. I'm going to tell you about." But you know what? But it made you so human. I thought
Yeah.
it was great. It was a coffee shop story.
Yeah, I was in the coffee shop in the town that I have a house in, and I just won here. And I'm a pretty shy to myself guy. I'm not looking for attention, put it that way. And I went into the coffee shop, I could feel people sort of looking at me. And I was just trying to mind my own business, get my coffee and leave. I was in there with my 6-year-old son. And, it was Starbucks, and they said, "All right, Keegan." And then as we're walking out, Logan youngest son yelled out, "Keegan Bradley, Travelers champion." And I'm like, "Logan," like I was pissed. I was like, and as I walked out, everyone started clapping.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the best stories I've
Yeah.
ever heard. I mean, what a great family moment, right? But also to embarrass his dad, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, too.
I
That's
had to, after I was in the car, because everyone was laughing, and he thought it was funny, and I said, we had to have a serious chat, like, don't ever do that again. I don't want any of that. Yeah.
Well, Keegan, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoy the seat, the chair, and the boys will enjoy their jerseys. And we'll see you here in 48 days, right?
Yes, can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
You didn't do that. Time.